We have 4 children. Parents, we've sat where you guys are sitting right now. 2 of our daughters are past the age of discovery. One is here as a high school helper, Ruby. Everybody wave at Ruby. She's somewhere here. I know that she's kind of proud and mostly mortified that I'm up here speaking. And we have 2 sons who are not quite at the age yet for discovery, so we will be back in your seats again. I know it's an exciting night. I've been here, I've listened to the speeches before. I'm always in awe of the student speeches, and tonight is no different. I think those were wonderful. They're so powerful. But having also sat through the parent speeches, when I got a text from a good friend asking me, or really telling me, that I was going to be speaking tonight, my first thought was, why? Shelley raises her hand. My first thought was, why me? Who am I? What do I have to offer in a setting like this? Why would a bunch of parents and kids want to have pearls of wisdom dropped from a normal guy like me who makes a lot of mistakes and is far from perfect? I see a lot of familiar faces out there who are probably thinking, yeah, why him? I thought the same thing. And I started to think, why do I feel that way? Why am I so uncomfortable speaking in church? Why do I feel unworthy? Why do I feel like I don't belong up here? I'm an attorney. For 20 years, I've been speaking in front of people. It's what I do for a living. I speak in court. I speak to judges, to juries, to clients, to adversaries. It's something I'm good at. It's something I enjoy. And it's something I do every day. So why do I have this insecurity? Why do I feel unworthy to speak in church? And I realized that it was a familiar feeling. It was just one I hadn't felt in a long time. So I started thinking about, how did I feel when I was your age? I'm talking to the middle schoolers. How did I feel when I was your age about my place in the church, about my worth, about my value, and about whether I belonged in this community? I went to church my whole life. I don't remember not going to church. We went every Sunday, most Wednesdays. I was at church camps like this. I went to mission trips. All of my friends were from church. I was a believer. I was all in on church. I went to a church that didn't baptize babies. Part of our tradition was you reach an age where you want to be baptized, and you come in and you do it in service. Typically, at our church, that was around middle school. It was about your age. So around middle school, I started watching my friends get baptized one by one, and I saw how the church celebrated that. I saw how proud it made their families, and I celebrated with them. But as the years went by and I saw all of my friends get baptized, I didn't. And I graduated high school having been someone who had gone to church their whole life, someone who was involved in church, someone who believed, and yet I didn't get baptized. And the reason why I didn't get baptized was I didn't feel like I was quite ready. I didn't feel like I was worthy, and I didn't feel like I belonged in that body of true, real Christians. I felt like I needed to reach some level of enlightenment or spiritual readiness, that there was some level of moral superiority that I had to be able to attain before I could be counted as a member of the body of believers, that I just wasn't ready to be a part of this community. So I got baptized at 19 years old in college by my college roommate, because who ended up being the best man at my wedding and one of my closest friends. I realized finally at 19 years old that you don't have to be perfect to be a part of a group of very imperfect people who all fall short of the glory of God, but who are all redeemed by the grace of a loving God. I had been in church for 18 years, and it took me that long to believe that. I'd never heard the song that was just sang. It was beautiful. There's a line in there that says, "Break down the walls of all my religion." As someone who went to church every Sunday for his whole life, it took me 19 years to break down the walls that I had built up of my religion. I can only imagine for someone who going to church is kind of a whole new thing, I can only imagine how big those walls can seem. As Robert mentioned earlier, some of you may go to church every week like I did. Some of you may go periodically. And for some of you, I'm sure there are people in here who this is the most significant time that you have ever spent in a church. No matter where you are on that continuum, it's possible that you can feel like I felt at your age. Am I worthy to be a part of this community? Will I be accepted within this body of faith? Am I ready? And do I have anything to offer? And here's an awkward segue. Are there any baseball players or softball players here today? A lot of you? Well, today my boys, they're kindergarten and first grade, had their first baseball practice ever. And as I was watching them, I was reminded of my baseball experience. So when I was a little bit younger than all of you, I was widely regarded as the worst baseball player ever. I was terrible. I had 2 hits, period. That was my baseball career. I had 2 hits. We're talking fast pitch, slow pitch, kid pitch, coach pitch. I could not hit the ball. And I tried, I swung, I tried, I practiced. I couldn't do it. And it was so frustrating. I was so bad that when I got up to bat, you could see people going to the restroom in the concession stand because there was no mystery about what was going to happen. I was going to strike out and shuffle back to the dugout in shame. I was the embodiment of ineptitude. It was terrible. But I was really fast. I was the fastest kid on the team, and I knew if by some miracle I could get to first base, I might be able to round the bases, and I might be able to score a run. I might be able to contribute to this team. But getting to first base was so hard. One day, my coach pulled me aside, who happened to also be the pulpit minister at my small church in Abilene, Texas, and he said, "Jeven, we need to get you on base. You need to stop swinging." True story. He told me, "Stop swinging. Don't ever swing again. These kids have only been pitching for a couple of years. They're throwing it all over the place. You have a much better chance of getting walked or being hit by a pitch than you do of actually hitting a ball." So let's rewind just a little bit to further illustrate how bad I was. When your preacher tells you, "Son, you ought to just give up. It's not going to work out. You're never going to get better," you are a different type of bad. So I listened to him and I stopped swinging, and for an entire season, balls are just zipping by. I get hit in the head by a few. Those were the good ones. I got on base. Most of the time, it didn't work out still. So one day, my dad grew sick of this, and he said, of course he didn't know, he said, "What are you doing? All season long, you're just standing there. You're not swinging. You're not trying." And I said, "Dad, well, wait. We got this figured out. Coach Sharp, Preacher Sharp," who, by the way, I love now. He's a great man. He would also not be proud of this moment. I said, "Coach Sharp told me not to swing. He told me just to stand there." And my dad, I could tell immediately, did not agree with that coaching decision. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "Son, that's not how we do it. You need to keep swinging. You need to keep trying. You don't need to give up. I don't care how many times you strike out. I want you to keep trying, and I want you to keep swinging. That's what you do." And so I did that. I went back. I put my batting glove on. I started swinging again. I'd love to tell y'all that there's a wonderful Hollywood ending to this story and that I hit a grand slam at the last game and was carried off. But no, I kept striking out. I kept walking back to the dugout in shame. I got more insecure, and I felt more and more like I didn't belong on that team. Not so much because I was striking out, but because of how I was being made to feel because I was striking out. And so at a very young age, I gave up. I walked away from baseball. I walked away. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel like I was wanted on that team. And I walked away. I did other things. I played other sports and I enjoyed them. I became a really good soccer player, and I focused on that through high school and part of college, but I never played baseball again. Guys, I can barely even stomach kickball. It's left such a bad taste in my mouth. I imagine there's some of you out there that are wondering if you want to walk away from church, wondering if you aren't wanted on this team. Maybe you've had a bad church experience. Maybe someone's made you feel like, you know what, you're not good enough. We don't want you on this team. Maybe you've just been scared to climb that wall. Maybe you've not gone to church. And the thought of coming in here and being rejected and wondering whether you're going to be accepted here and whether you have a role and whether you can contribute is so scary that you don't even want to try. Well, I have news for you. I know that the theme this weekend is known. And there's a reason that's the theme, because you are known by God. Guys, you're already on the roster. You're already on the team. And teams are funny. You know, teams are filled with misfits with different strengths and weaknesses, very unique skill sets that they can use to contribute in their own way to the success of the team. Teams are there to celebrate you when you win and when you have a success. And as we heard from the two earlier speakers, teams are there to lift you up when you're in a slump as well. Teams can help you play the game better, and you might find out along the way that you can help a teammate who is struggling with some aspect of the game. I suppose that there are teams out there that can make you feel small and make you want to walk away. But the teams that are doing it right are going to make you feel like you belong. The teams that are doing things right are going to tell you to keep swinging no matter how many times you strike out. No matter how many times you strike out, they're going to tell you, don't give up, keep trying. And the right teams will see the value in you and will make sure that you have something, that you know that you have something to contribute. Teams are funny and teams are important. And guys, everything I just said also describes church in a way. If you're looking for a church community, I welcome you to join our team. But this is not just a Join Trinity night. There are a lot of other faith communities out there that would welcome you just the way, and that are great teams as well. So I would encourage all of you to find a team that you can belong to. Everyone needs a team. Middle school is hard. I remember, believe it or not, I was a middle schooler once, and I parented 2 middle schoolers. It's a fun and exciting time, but it's also a very challenging time. Teams are important. And this message I'm giving you all tonight, it's not just for the kids. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever's out there, at any age, you can feel unwelcome and unwanted and unworthy, especially parents in particular. You can feel isolated, you can feel alone, and you can feel overwhelmed. And scars and wounds of insecurity that you thought had healed long ago can rip open at times you least expect it. Parenting is very hard. Parenting middle schoolers, wow, that's very hard too. I hope somewhere in what I'm saying tonight that you hear a reminder that you are worthy, that you're not alone, and that you can handle this. And most importantly, that you also are welcome into a community that can help you with whatever you are going through. So I welcome you to join a team also and to start swinging. Thank you all for listening to the ramblings of the world's worst baseball player. I hope you all have a great weekend.